There's something wrong when college-educated professionals are celebrating finally living alone. At 35, you're making $80,000 a year, working hard, yet half your paycheck vanishes into rent. No savings, no space, no path to the life you thought you were building. And for what? A kitchen that doubles as your hallway and a view of the building next door. What if that same $3,000 a month could get you a sunlit balcony overlooking the water, 2,000 square feet of historic charm, or a home where your living room windows frame snow-capped mountains? Today, we're counting down 7 US cities where your rent buys breathing room, financial freedom, and a lifestyle you didn't think was possible anymore. Let's begin. Number 7. San Francisco, California. This city serves as our reality check. In San Francisco, $3,000 a month gets you about 400 square feet. That's smaller than a 2-car garage. You're sharing walls, hearing your neighbor's Netflix, and your rent could jump next year with zero warning. We're talking about a studio apartment where the kitchen is literally a hot plate next to your bed. The question is, what kind of life are you building when you can't have friends over because there's literally nowhere for them to sit? You're paying premium prices to live like a college student well into your professional career. You need to earn at least $120,000 annually just to afford that tiny studio comfortably. And even then, you're saving absolutely nothing. The application process alone is degrading. First month's rent, last month's rent, security deposit, broker fees, plus competing with tech workers offering cash above asking price just for the privilege of renting a closet. I'm wondering, what happens to your dreams of starting a family, buying a home, or building a business when half your income disappears into someone else's mortgage? San Francisco doesn't create wealth for renters. It extracts wealth systematically. If that sounded rough on the West Coast, hop to the East Coast and it isn't much better.
Number 6. New York City, New York. In New York City, $3,000 forces an impossible choice between location and livable space. You get a 600 square foot 1-bedroom in Queens with a 90-minute subway commute each direction, or a 500 square foot Manhattan studio where you literally cannot fit a dining table. Either way, you're competing with 15 other qualified applicants just for the privilege of paying these amounts. The rental process has become so competitive that having good credit and stable income isn't enough. You need to outbid other qualified renters in an auction system. You're paying $3,000 to live in a space so small that having friends over means choosing between your bedroom and your kitchen, where storing normal amounts of clothing requires creative solutions. How do you build a real social life when your apartment is too small to host a dinner party? The time costs compound the financial costs. Long commutes steal hours daily that could be spent on personal development, relationships, or side income generation. But what do you think? What if I told you that same $3,000 could buy you a lifestyle where commuting means driving past mountain lakes, and your biggest space problem is deciding which room to use as your home office? Ready for the plot twist? Number 5. Bend, Oregon. Number 5 is where your $3,000 starts working for you instead of against you. Bend, Oregon. We're talking 1,200 square feet in a modern 2-bedroom apartment with mountain views that people pay thousands just to vacation near. Picture yourself waking up every morning to the Cascade Mountains rising from your backyard, where Mount Bachelor offers world-class skiing just 22 minutes from your front door. Your coffee comes with sunrise views over snow-capped peaks, and your evening walks might include deer sightings. Here's what changes when you stop handing your paycheck to a landlord in San Francisco. In Bend, you're not just getting more space. You're getting unlimited outdoor recreation, clean air, and a community where people actually make eye contact and say hello. This isn't some remote mountain town where you sacrifice career opportunities. Bend has attracted tech companies, outdoor gear manufacturers, and remote workers who refuse to choose between professional success and mountain living. Companies like Nike, Facebook, and countless startups have established operations here because they've discovered something remarkable. When employees aren't stressed about housing costs and have unlimited outdoor recreation, productivity and retention skyrocket. Plus, the food offerings here would surprise you. Restaurants that would fit right in Portland or Seattle, craft breweries that take advantage of pristine mountain water. When your outdoor recreation is literally in your backyard, you stop spending money on expensive gym memberships, weekend getaways, and stress relief. The savings compound. No $200 monthly gym membership,
No $500 weekend escapes to nature.
Number 4, Sandpoint, Idaho. This is one of those places most people have never heard of. In Sandpoint, $3,000 gets you lake living that would cost $8,000 in Lake Tahoe. Imagine living on the shores of Lake Pend Oreille, a 43-mile-long glacier-carved lake so pristine, the U.S. Navy conducts submarine testing in its depths. Your $3,000 here gets you 1,400 square feet with potential lake views, surrounded by forested mountains that create reflections so perfect, they look digitally enhanced. So I'm curious, what would you do if your daily commute involved driving past water so clear you can see the bottom at 20 feet deep? That's the daily reality for people smart enough to discover Sandpoint before everyone else figures it out. This isn't some manufactured resort community built for rich weekenders. This is a real working town where families raise kids, where local businesses have been serving the same customers for decades. Schweitzer Mountain Resort sits just 11 miles away, offering skiing that rivals Aspen at a fraction of the cost. We're talking about 2,900 acres of skiable terrain, 2,400 feet of vertical drop, and lift tickets that cost what you'd pay for lunch in Vail. Lake Pend Oreille offers every form of water recreation at a fraction of Lake Tahoe costs. Sailing regattas that attract competitors from throughout the region, fishing for native trout species in pristine conditions, and swimming in temperatures that reach comfortable levels, despite the mountain elevation. The economic foundation here is more solid than you'd expect. Schweitzer provides year-round employment. The lake attracts retirees with serious money who support high-end services, and tech workers have discovered they can work remotely while living in paradise. The biggest downside? You might become one of those people who posts too many sunset photos on social media because every evening looks like a postcard. Number 3, Livingston, Montana. In Livingston, Montana, $3,000 doesn't just rent you a place, it rents you a piece of American legend. This is where the Yellowstone River cuts through Paradise Valley with dramatic precision, 30 minutes from Yellowstone National Park's north entrance. Picture this. You're living in an authentic railroad town, where Main Street looks like a movie set, where writers and artists have been coming for generations, because the light here is something special. Your $3,000 gets you 1,600 square feet in a place where morning mist rises off the Yellowstone River like something out of a Western novel. What would you pay for a vacation that includes world-class fly fishing, unlimited hiking in the Absaroka Mountains, and Yellowstone National Park as your extended backyard? Because in Livingston, that's not a vacation, that's Tuesday. The town has this authentic charm that most places lost decades ago. We're talking about coffee shops where locals and visitors naturally mix, restaurants serving both traditional Montana fare and surprisingly sophisticated cuisine, and a pace of life that lets you actually notice sunsets. And here's what's really special about Livingston. It's attracted writers, artists, and creative professionals who've discovered they can afford to focus on their craft instead of just surviving. The Yellowstone River provides world-class fly fishing for native trout species, with guides and outfitters who know every riffle and seasonal pattern. The community here understands something that expensive cities have forgotten: that quality of life isn't measured by square footage of retail space, but by whether you have time to enjoy your surroundings and money left over after covering basic needs. Writers like Tom McGuane and artists like Russell Chatham chose Livingston because they could afford to create instead of just survive. If you're finding value in this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we bring you deep dive videos on housing, relocation, and retirement every week. Quick question: which city so far would you actually move to? Drop a comment with your pick. And stay with us, because number 2 is going to surprise anyone who thinks affordable living means giving up sophistication. Number 2, Astoria, Oregon. This is where the Columbia River meets the Pacific Ocean, and $3,000 gets you coastal living that would cost $6,000 in California. Imagine Victorian mansions cascading down hillsides toward the Columbia River, where massive container ships navigate between Oregon and Washington like floating cities.
Your $3,000 here gets you 1,700 square feet with potential water views in a town where Lewis and Clark ended their historic journey. What would you do if your morning coffee came with views of ocean storms rolling in from the Pacific? Because in Astoria, dramatic weather isn't something you watch on TV. It's entertainment you get free with your rent. This isn't some forgotten coastal town barely hanging on. Astoria is 90 minutes from Portland, which makes it technically commutable for high-paying jobs while offering a completely different lifestyle. Several film and television productions have discovered Astoria's authentic character. We're talking Hollywood bringing money to a place that still feels genuinely local. Movies like The Goonies, Kindergarten Cop, and Free Willy were filmed here. The outdoor opportunities here are staggering. Columbia River fishing for salmon and steelhead during runs that have sustained Native American communities for thousands of years. Pacific beaches for storm watching and tide pooling, and coastal mountains for hiking through temperate rainforests. The Astoria area is quietly developing its own wineries, taking advantage of the same maritime climate that makes Oregon wines world famous. Plus, the craft brewing community here rivals Portland. Breweries that source local ingredients and create unique flavors you can't find anywhere else. And there's even more. Oregon has no sales tax, so your money stretches even further than the rent savings suggest. Plus, you'll have access to fresh seafood, caught daily by local fishermen, and farmers markets that feature produce grown in the fertile river valleys just inland.
Number 1. Beaufort, South Carolina. And our number 1 destination is going to completely change how you think about Southern living. Beaufort, South Carolina is where $3,000 gets you 2,100 square feet of coastal Southern charm that would cost $8,000 in Charleston. Beaufort isn't just affordable, it's enchanting in ways that make expensive coastal cities look like expensive mistakes. We're talking about a place where Spanish moss drapes ancient live oaks like nature's chandeliers, where antebellum mansions face tidal creeks where dolphins surface so regularly that residents learn to recognize individual animals. What would you do if every morning started with sea air drifting through wide-open windows, the water glittering just beyond your doorstep, and your only dilemma was whether to paddle through salt marshes or wander barefoot along quiet beaches? That's the kind of life $3,000 buys you in Beaufort, even though most people think it would take millions. This isn't some tourist trap that empties out after Labor Day. Beaufort has Paris Island Marine Corps Base, providing economic stability, the University of South Carolina campus bringing cultural programming, and a film industry that's discovered this place is too beautiful not to feature in major productions. The real estate here tells an incredible story. Historic homes with heart pine floors, high ceilings, and architectural details that would cost hundreds of thousands to recreate today. All available for rental prices that seem almost criminal compared to what most people pay for basic apartments. Year-round outdoor weather means golf, tennis, boating, and beach activities become part of your daily routine instead of expensive vacation activities. The climate supports year-round outdoor activities, while ocean breezes moderate summer temperatures. Pristine beaches on nearby islands offer swimming, surfing, and beachcombing without the crowds that characterize many Atlantic coast destinations. Tidal creeks provide kayaking and fishing opportunities, where wildlife viewing includes dolphins, manatees, and countless bird species. Here's how life changes for your family when outdoor recreation, cultural events, and historic charm become part of your daily routine rather than expensive vacation experiences. The tax advantages here add another layer of appeal. South Carolina offers significant benefits for retirees and military families, and the cost of living allows residents to enjoy amenities that would be financially challenging in more expensive coastal communities.
I know you may be wondering, if these places are so incredible, why isn't everyone moving there? And that's exactly the point. While everyone's fighting over the same overpriced markets, these communities are quietly offering the lifestyle that most Americans say they want. but think they can't afford. Here's my challenge to you. Before you sign another lease paying someone else's mortgage for inadequate space, you might want to take a serious look at places like these. What if the secret to financial freedom and life satisfaction isn't earning more money, but choosing to live where your money builds wealth instead of just covering survival? If you find value in our videos, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because next week, we're revealing the 7 rental markets that are about to explode in value, places where smart investors are quietly buying before everyone else discovers them. Some of these are going to shock you because they're not where you'd expect. Please drop a comment and let us know if you agree with the cities and if there's any city you would want us to include. Remember, the best rental values won't stay secret forever. Start your research now before these places become the next expensive destinations everyone wishes they discovered earlier. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week with more insights.